my sexy Dexter fans, and welcome to my last freaking Dexter news vlog for the rest of eternity. That's really crazy. That just hit me, actually. This is the last, not the last Dexter vlog that I'm going to make, but it's the last time that I am delivering to you beautiful, delicious people the Dexter news and the hints, you know, kind of in this, well, it's not so much the calm before the storm. We're kind of like in the pre-storm storm, okay? So you guys understand exactly what I mean, I think. But I just want to thank all of you so much for sticking with me in this crazy journey that we have had together. And of course, I'm going to continue doing lots of Dexter videos in the day to come. Days, actually, in the day. There is one final day that remains. I mean, you never know, I suppose. But, you know, so this isn't the end of me talking Dexter. There's much more to come, so don't panic yet. There's already much to panic over, so I don't want to add to your plate, okay? But, wow, I mean, I feel like I need to do something special to, not really to celebrate this, but to kind of memorialize this as the last Dexter news vlog. I don't know, maybe I could, like, well, I'll light a candle, okay? Just light a candle here. Ready? It's like almost dead, so come on. Come on, baby. Give me some more. Alright, never mind. Hang on. Just gonna light it in front of you. I'm out of lighter fluid! No! Come on. Give it to me. Give it to me. Oh, it's coming. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Flame on. Here we go. Alright, can you see? It's lit. Right there. Oh, it's dying. This is really sad. It's the end of the candle and the end of my Dexter news vlog, so it smells like caramel corn and candied apples. So I'm just gonna hope that this poor little flame can survive. See, it's dying. It's right there. Okay. Anyway. I'm sorry about that, I'm sorry. Okay, and also today is the day of the Hannibal season 1 finale, so this is just like the end of so many eras right now. I don't even know. So I'm gonna do my best to walk you through all the news that I have so far. All my stories are pretty much available through dexterdaily.com. I highly suggest that you follow their Twitter page, and you know, all the links to the stuff I talk about are below. Links to Dexter Daily stuff is below, and I am going to be writing reviews for them this Dexter season. So y'all have that to look forward to, potentially, if you enjoy what I have to offer. And what else? Yeah, so last news vlog. After this, I'm shutting myself down. Just gonna hold my breath and dive in when it comes. So let us talk about some of the exciting little details that have been released. And some of the stories are longer, so I'm gonna like super abridge them, because you guys listen to me talk enough about enough things, so, you know, I'll do my best to keep this within a half an hour, which is kind of how all my videos are starting to turn out. But let's do this thing. Alright, and spoiler alert as well, you know, there are some minor spoilers, especially about the first few episodes, so if you don't want to know anything else, just stay tuned next week for my Dexter seasons 1 through 7 recap, and I'm gonna have a little nostalgia video. We're gonna go back through the good old days and look at some of the most iconic moments, talk about our favorite seasons. That's going down next week, so stick around for that. Anyways, so here we go into the spoiler zone. You have been warned. So, the first story that I'm going to look at is a story about Charlotte Rampling, who is playing the new character of Dr. Evelyn Vogel. And she gives a few details about her character and the kind of dynamic that she's going to bring, which I think is super interesting. And God, I'm so excited that a character like her is coming into the scene at this time, and that through her, we're really going to get to know more about Dexter and gonna get closure on his story. I just think that she is the perfect element to bring into the fray. And as the two of them face the seasons Big Bad together. Yeah, I got Breaking Bad in the brain as well. But you know, they're both going to be facing together the brain surgeon murderer, whom I think is going to be the killer that is on Evelyn's track. and she's going to kind of seek Dexter's help in confronting this killer. So yeah, so we're gonna see some of that. Anyways, so Charlotte has some very interesting things to say about her character, and she actually, the story in this interview with Charlotte Rampling has a little tease about a scene that's going to be coming up in one of the episodes in the first half of the season. I'm not sure which one. I'm guessing it's the first or second one, actually. But Dexter at one point says to her, to Dr. Vogel, "I won't just let her go," talking about Deborah. And so, you know, there's going to be kind of a maternal relationship that's established here, and he's going to confide in her. And there's an interesting quote in the story that I'm gonna try and find for ya. And I won't read the whole thing, you know, you can find the link in the description if you want to read the rest of the story. But, so what Rampling says, you know, regarding her relationship with Dexter, you know, Dr. Vogel decided Dexter was not going to be considered a monster and wasn't going to be considered mentally insane and not be put into an institution. And Rampling talks about how she's in love with the role, and she says, you know, there's something very intellectual about the way Vogel works toward an instinctual person who doesn't analyze what he does because he has no conscience. Dexter's also very charismatic, and so I need to be charismatic to get his attention. It's very cat and mouse. So yeah, so I'll let you read the rest of that story. But as a whole, you know, I think that she is going to be a very cool addition. And I think there's another interesting quote where, I think that this comes in one of the stories I'm going to talk about later, where Vogel, you know, she tells Dexter that that psychopaths are important to society, that they're needed to help it advance, and she's, you know, coming to him, giving him some comfort and solace about who he is in the midst of everything that he's lost with Deborah. So I think, you know, she's going to be a catalyst of healing for him about himself, and possibly to help him reconnect with Deborah as well. My throat is like, it is a desert right now. Okay. Probably because all the liquids in my body are moving to my eyes for the Hannibal finale tonight that is going to destroy my soul. Yeah, so really interesting stuff. What do you guys think about her character? Are you as excited as I am? I feel like she's, you know, she's going to be very Trinity-esque in the intrigue that she brings and just the power, I think. It's going to be very cool. So then we have a little casting detail and a minor spoiler from the 10th episode of the season. And we know that there's going to be a nurse in this episode. Okay, you know, makes sense. Pretty much everyone is getting hurt all the time. And she's going to be portrayed by Anzu Lawson. And she shared a photo of new little Harrison via Instagram. And he has got blood all down his shirt front. Of course, in this picture, he's smiling. They're like, yeah, you know, what else are you going to do behind the scenes, you know? You got to keep it light. So you can see the link below, check out the photo, and you know, there's really no way of knowing what exactly this connotes. I mean, it could be something as benign as a nosebleed and something as horrific as it being blood from a kill related to Dexter or Deborah, or he saw something, or, you know, it could be anything of that nature. So I'm not going to speculate too much because there's really not much more that you can say. Beyond, wow, this season is going to be painful on every possible level. And then there's a little story here, little interview with Amy Garcia, who plays Jamie Batista in the season, and she kind of teases about how her character is really going to be expanded in new ways. You know, she's kind of been integrated into Dexter's family. And so, you know, she is a very intimate presence. You know, she is caring after Dexter's most prized possession, and she's, you know, she's protected Dexter, she's stood up for him, you know, she's been involved and in the shadows of all of this. So it sounds like she's going to be brought more into the forefront in some interesting ways. And what Amy herself says about this is that, you know, we're going to see another side of Jamie. Okay, things progress, things happen, there's more curveballs than she's ever seen. So, you know, I think maybe we're going to see a side of Jamie that is less, you know, there's almost this sort of innocent side about her. I mean, we've kind of seen her in relationships and things like that, you know, but it makes sense for a girl like her. So, you know, I think that this this suggests that perhaps she will become suspicious of Dexter. You know, she might get in on the secret kind of, and as, you know, we're starting to figure out that she's supposed to be with Quinn romantically this season, you know, really anything could happen. Because we think about how close Quinn was to figuring Dexter out in the 5th season, and then he backed off because of Deb and etc, etc. Does he have any reason to protect Dexter anymore if anything else surfaces? You know, are they going to come at it from that angle? I think we're going to see some fresh sides of other existing characters as well. So it's going to be crazy. And then I found a story with an interview with the executive producer, can't talk, executive producer Sarah Colleton on what's in store for Dexter and Deborah and Hannah and pretty much everything and everyone in season 8, and she just hashes it out. I love reading interviews with Sarah Colleton because she's so well spoken, and I feel that she really has forged a tight connection with the characters and is so incredibly aware of all the different motives and everything that goes into who they are. And she is just all about that and so good at expressing it. So it's a long story, so I'm not going to say too much more other than that. Y'all should read it. It's kind of, you know, halfway down the description links below the video here. So please look at that. And, you know, so she talks about how, you know, this season really is about Dexter and Deborah at its core, you know. That much we've figured out, but she really re-solidifies that concept. And, you know, she talks about how Deborah's dealing with the fallout from LaGuerta's death, not good, spoiler alert, and how the relationship is changing with Dexter and Deborah, and how he is going to do everything in his power to get her back, which will inevitably involve him reacting in ways that are less suggestive of him being a cold and calculating monster and more suggestive of him being a volatile human being who is feeling a sense of loss and need and a tie to humanity that is embodied in Deb. So that's the best way that I can describe it for you. You know, she talks about, would Deb ever consider turning Dexter in? And she's not really necessarily going to do that because, you know, that would involve turning herself in as well. You know, do they both want to go down together with this ship? It's hard to say exactly because I think the relationship has a lot of room to change. And you know, she talks about how Batista's going to be taking over as lieutenant, and then Captain Matthews is also coming back on the force. So, you know, everyone's really going to be united under Batista. He's by no means anything like what LaGuerta was. You know, she was very power hungry and often compromised in order to keep getting up that ladder. Whereas Batista is really about the community. You know, Matthews is old school. I think they're gonna make a really interesting team, so I'm excited to see the Miami Metro dynamic that is going to go on. And then, you know, she also has some interesting things to say about Evelyn Vogel and Dexter. And this is where, you know, she talks about how she's telling Dexter that he is perfect the way he is. You know, he is amazing just the way he is. And Vogel actually kind of made him who he is, so, you know. She's kind of like Frankenstein, except she's actually proud of her creation, in a way. But, yeah, so, very interesting story. Do check it out. There's so much more that is said in it, and yeah, so if you have any other thoughts on what she says, feel free to comment below, and we'll talk about it. So, at any rate, different reviewers and people that are extremely special and awesome have gotten to preview some of the first few episodes of the season, and there are different stories floating all around the internet, you know, like things to expect for season 8 and just little teasers and hints and stuff like that. And I'm not going to be checking out too many of them because they're all kind of getting a little bit repetitive. You know, it's information that has kind of become public domain as it's spread around like herpes. The good kind of herpes. The kind of herpes that makes you excited for the future. I don't really know if there is a kind of herpes that does that, but I just made a metaphor, so I'm gonna stick with it. Yeah, so there is a little story on zaptoit.com, it's a blog site, And they basically, you know, it's some information that's already been floating out there. Link is below. But what I'm going to draw special attention to is the fact that, number one, this author suggests that Deborah is not the only one who is on a really bad downward spiral as a result of LaGuerta's death. So we know why Deborah is responding as powerfully as she is. But, you know, how are other people going to be reacting? Ooh, the smoke is coming from my dying candle. Ah, this is just so horrifically symbolic right now. It smells. Go away. You're done. Good night. Please don't let the fire alarm go off. Anyways, so yeah, someone else is going to be impacted in a really big way. Is it going to be somebody from Miami Metro? I can only assume because, you know, those are the other significant characters in the story are kind of embodied in that place. So that's kind of what I'm guessing. And then also, the author of this story says that there's going to be a new team member at Miami Metro in the form of Detective Angie Miller. And she's fairly quiet so far, but you know what they say, it's always the quiet ones. So what does that say? You know, keep an eye on the new girl because some big revelation might be coming about through her. So yeah, and then they also say that there's a new Dexter couple that has us scratching our heads, but hey, whatever works. I'm guessing that's Quinn and Jamie, because, you know, Quinn with anyone is just kind of like red flags, you know? Yeah, so go ahead and check out that story if you like just a little more detail. But, you know, it's kind of stuff that's already been floating around out there if you've already been looking up like the little spoilers and teasers. So yeah. Now, this is where it gets interesting, okay? And this is actually like the #1 story that compelled me to make another Dexter News vlog, because I was just kind of, you know, gonna lay back a little bit and just wait for everything to come and, you know, do the nostalgia Dexter vlog. But I saw this and I was like, okay, we need to talk about this, especially those of you who watch Hannibal. So if that's any hint as to the content of this particular spoiler, then, you know, brace yourselves. But there was an interview done with the Michael of Sea Halls, and he said that what disturbed him the most about this current season is an episode featuring a cannibal. Okay? Cannibalism is in right now, ladies and gentlemen. If, you know, Hannibal has been any evidence of that, you know, I'm really excited. I mean, this is like one significant type of killer that Dexter hasn't really crossed paths with yet. And, you know, a lot of people have actually complained that he hasn't. And so, you know, now they're gonna give it to us. So it's very exciting. I'm gonna warn y'all, this guy's probably not going to be as suave and well-dressed and sexy as Dr. Hannibal Lecter in the form of Mads Mikkelsen. But, you know, we'll see what exactly they do with it. I don't think... You know, I think it'd be kind of dumb for them to try to replicate a Hannibal-esque character, because Hannibal is so on his own level. Like, he is the ultimate fallen angel, Satan kind of figure. So I don't think, you know, if this is going to be like a single episode or like a 2-episode arc, there's really not room for such a charming and cunning character as Hannibal, because there is so much about him that is just so enormous and involves its own story entirely. So, you know, it'll be interesting to see what kind of cannibal they bring into the picture and how we can see Dexter react to it, because, yeah, because we haven't really seen him react to that kind of a killer. And, you know, Dexter, he reserves his own, you know, forms of snarkiness for different kind of killer, I really can't talk today. Different kind of killers doing different kinds of things, so I'm excited. This is gonna be good. It's gonna be good. So what do you guys think of this development? You know, I don't think that they're necessarily riding on the coattails of Hannibal's success. I think that they just kind of had that as like a wake-up call to, oh hey, you know, this is something that we should experiment with, you know, in this show about serial killers. So yeah, I'm excited to see how this goes down. I think it's gonna be good. It's gonna be juicy. Okay, So moving on, just a couple more stories for you. So the promotional photos for the second episode of season 8, which is called Every Silver Lining, have been released. So there's the link in the description for you to look at these as I briefly talk about them. So we've got a picture of Deborah, and she's in front of Sean Flannery's character, Jacob Elway, I believe his name is, Mr. Elway. You know, and he's kind of a not really suave looking dude. He looks kind of seedy, you know, he's got his hair slicked back and, you know, the mismatched tie and shirt, like checkered against diagonal stripes. It's sketchy at best. But yeah, so we see her with him. She looks kind of concerned in a way, you know, probably dealing with some case, or, you know, we'll be seeing very soon. And we see, you know, Dexter is working a crime scene. You know, what is it that he is bagging here? It's kind of difficult to see. We'll see further into that. And then there is a picture of Dr. Evelyn Vogel. We see a little bit of the Quinn Meister. And then there looks to be a party that some of the members of Miami Metro are at. We've got Batista and Masuka and Quinn and one of the newer detectives. I think that she was around last season as well. I just don't know her name. And they're all making a toast, and Quinn's like the one guy with the water bottle, which I think is very ironic considering the events of season 6. Yeah, so we see Batista and Quinn are talking, you know. Maybe this is at Batista's restaurant. Is he still doing that business now that he's lieutenant? Not exactly sure. Or maybe he's like celebrating, you know, his last time at the restaurant before he transfers back over. So you never know. We see that Quinn and Jamie are having a very animated discussion in his car, you know, where the stripper was sitting last season. And then the most interesting pictures of all are those of Dexter and Dr. Vogel. There's, in this picture, the second one from the bottom in the story that I'm looking at, Dexter's in his kill suit, okay? And he's leaning in, having some kind of what appears, or what I can only assume to be, a deep discussion with Vogel. You know, she's leaning in, she's interested, she's smiling, like she is locked into him. And so there's no way of knowing what exactly is being said or communicated here, but I'm really excited to see how it goes down. And then there's a picture of Vogel leaning in and hugging Dexter from behind. You know, he looks kind of concerned. I mean, inevitably, he's not really about touch and feeling tactile things, you know, that's really not his jam. So I'm really excited to see what inspires this kind of action, and this is really, you know, solidifying in my mind the idea that their relationship is, you know, as much as it is going to be a game of cat and mouse, there's going to be a deeply maternal side to it. You know, all this time Dexter's just had the ghost of his dad in his head to guide him, and now he has someone tangible, someone who co-conspired with his father to protect him, arguably, someone who has the power to enact good in his life, or could also lead him astray, you know? So I like the ambiguities at work here, but yeah, what do you guys think of those pictures? Just let me know in the comments. A couple more stories here. A little season 8 scoop from megabuzz.com. And they say, the question is Deb really over her feelings for her brother on Dexter? The response is, she'll be too busy dealing with her PTSD stemming from LaGuardia's death to even consider some more brother loving. I mean, obviously, this is what I was preparing myself for, so, you know, that much I can stomach at this point, you know, see where things progress, and I pray that they will. And then they continue, seriously, she really hates him right now. Instead, she'll turn to Quinn in her time of need, which will really piss off Jamie. Hottest cat fight ever, right? Okay, so we're bringing Quinn back into the picture here, you know, because after season 6, like season 7, there was really almost no relationship between Quinn and Deb other than professional work related, and that's about as much as you could freaking handle, you know, beyond what she's dealing with behind the curtains. But, so I think that that's really intriguing, actually, because it always kind of bothered me. Well, I actually, they did bring some level of resolve to their relationship. Like, Quinn was trying to make nice with her again, and he's trying to clean up his act, and they share a little kiss, but they sort of go their separate ways. So I guess they did kind of close the books on that already, but it's going to be interesting, you know, see how Quinn's going to deal with that. And, you know, maybe that's related to the other side of Jamie that we're going to see this season, the side of her that's vengeful and jealous. And, you know, hottest catfight ever? We'll see. We've seen Jamie and Deb have some pretty entertaining fights, actually, like the one time where they're just, like, duking it out, and Dexter's like, should I just, like, walk away? Like, would they even know? So, I'm a little nervous about this. And, you know, I don't think that anything long-term is going to come out of Deborah pursuing Quinn for whatever reason. I mean, she's going to come into contact with him because, like, we see that she gets, like, a DUI, you know, he finds her in her car and, like, on the side of the road, had an accident, or she's just drunk off her gourd. So, you know, they're going to interact in that way, so, I don't know, maybe the drunkenness that Deborah is exhibiting will speak to his former drunk, and they will have a great mess. Oh my goodness. Okay, so a couple more things for you before I wrap these shenanigans up. The finale episode title has been revealed, and it is the subject of much debate and discussion, and I'm not really going to do too much to contribute to that because we really have no idea where things are going to go. That is the writer's sweet secret, and it's sacred place, and, you know, I'm not really going to endeavor to try and say what exactly I think it means, because it could be anything and everything, and that's kind of the point. But the episode title is Remember the Monsters. So, and then question mark. So, remember the monsters? What monsters? You know, are these the monsters that Dexter has killed? Is he one of these monsters himself? You know, from whose perspective is this question being posed, or from anyone's? Or is it kind of like, you know, sort of farewell tour of sorts? I don't know, but I really like it. I mean, you know, because it's like the last couple years they've done things like, you know, electric chair and lethal injection, you know, like the fake episode titles, so I wouldn't be surprised if this was the real one, because I think that there's something really cool and poetic about it in my mind, so I really like that. What do you guys think? I'm jiving with that. I mean, I'd be happy if that's what it is, and I'm excited to see, you know, what the symbolism is there and what exactly it's talking about. I'm not going to endeavor to go any further than that. And, yeah. So, also, I need to address this rumor, because it just came to my attention earlier today that a lot of people think that the return of Hannah might be related to her being pregnant. And the reason why I think that this is not going to be the case is because we've already seen Dexter as the hesitant parent. I mean, we've already seen Dexter in that position of asking himself, you know, can I really be part of a family? Can I really raise a child? And so, you know, that family aspect is something that has been explored and is being explored in new ways with the current Harrison. And then, yeah, I don't think that that's going to be the kind of trauma that she is going to bring forward, although it would account for her trying to come back and find Dexter again after their falling out at the end of season 7. But I do hope that it's not related to that, because that, oh, you know, it's like if I could choose my share of conflicts, that would be one that I would not want to have to see dealt with. So, that's all I'm gonna say. But, so this is the end. My last hints video. I've given you everything I've got, and now we're gonna lock and load until the next season. I'll have my nostalgia vlog next week, and there will be many more Dexter things to come. So, 10 days, ladies and gents. Do you have your emergency preparedness plans? If I potentially have a heart attack from Dexter kits? Because if not, I would suggest that you invest in that. I know that I am. I'm really nervous and excited, and now I've got to get myself in the zone for Hannibal. all kinds of trauma up in here. You guys are amazing, and I can't wait to do this last season of Dexter with you and beyond. There's much to be done and to be said and explored, and you know, I'll be there with you guys every step of the way. So take care, thanks very much, and I'll be back before you know it. Bye guys.